Good morning. My name is Adrienne Roberts Larson. I'm the Chief Deputy Executive Director for the Department of Taxation. I'd like to call this meeting of the State Board of Equalization to order. It is 9 a.m. on March 23rd, 2026 in Carson City, Nevada, and this is the time and place scheduled. The meeting has been properly noticed in compliance with the Nevada Open Meeting Law. Carrie, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Bancroft?
Here.
Member Burke?
Here.
Member Cadwell?
Here.
Member Orrick?
Here.
Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. My name is Paul Bancroft. I'm the chair of the State Board of Equalization. Today we have a quorum. We have Corinne Burke attending in person here in Carson City. We have Curtis Cadwell attending via Zoom from Elko, and we have a new member, Kevin Orrick, attending from Clark County via Zoom. Mr. Orrick was just recently appointed, and I'd like to welcome him to the board. He fills the position for one versed in business generally. His background, he was Vice President of Master Plan Communities for the Howard Hughes Corporation and the President of Summerlin. He brings a lot of business experience and knowledge for Clark County to the board. So Kevin, we're glad you're here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next up is public comment.
This is Carrie for the record, Carrie Skalski. Public comment. Persons wishing to provide public comment remotely may access the meeting by using the telephone numbers and meeting ID posted on the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and comments based on viewpoint will not be restricted. Public comment will be available at the beginning of the meeting and at the end of the agenda. At the discretion of the chairman, additional public comment may be heard when the item is reached. The chairman may allow additional time to be given to a speaker as time allows at his sole discretion. NRS 241.020, NRS 241.030. Is there anyone in Carson City who would like to make public comment? Is there anyone in Las Vegas who would like to make public comment? AVH, do we have anyone online who would like to make public comment?
Thank you. If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 on your phone or raise hand on your Zoom window to participate. Again, if you wish to provide public comment, please press *9 on your phone or raise hand on your Zoom window. We have no participants for public comment at this time.
Again, this is Adrienne Roberts Larson, Chief Deputy for the Department, for the record. I'd like to remind everyone that we'll be speaking today, including members of the committee. To each time it is your turn to speak, please clearly state your name for the record. Agenda item 4 is provided as a consent agenda item for possible action. This item pertains to direct appeals from the valuations of the Nevada Tax Commission filed with the State Board of Equalization pursuant to NRS 361.403. The petitioners and respondents in each of these cases have agreed to resolve their respective matters as reflected in the proposed stipulations included with the meeting materials. The consent agenda item can be acted on as a whole if the State Board so chooses. Chair Bancroft.
Thank you. This is, as she mentioned, the consent agenda. So we can approve these stipulations, all 3 in one motion, unless a board member would like to pull one or more of the items from the consent agenda for discussion. Does anybody, do any of the members care to pull an item from the consent agenda? If not, I'd ask, is there a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda?
Curtis Cadwell, I'll make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Kevin Orrick, I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All those in favor? Well, since our court reporter is remote, I will ask people for their vote individually. Curtis Cadwell,
Aye.
Kevin Orrick,
Aye.
Corinne Burke,
Aye.
Paul Bancroft, aye. Motion passes. That's the end of the items on our consent agenda.
Adrian Roberts Larson for the record. Agenda item 5 is the review of tax rolls of the various counties, review evaluation methods used by county assessors, consideration of possible equalization action for the 2025-26 unsecured tax roll and 2026-27 secured tax roll pursuant to NRS 361.395 and NAC 361.659. This was the first year that the county submitted their tax rolls through MINT, the department's modernization or modernized system. With the exception of Pershing County, each county assessor provided an affidavit and certificate of compliance within the system as part of submitting their county's roll. Chair Bancroft.
Thank you. Going over the tax rolls and other information that's been submitted, I'd ask the Deputy Attorney General assigned to the State Board to give us a brief explanation of what our role is in terms of the business of equalization.
Good morning. I'm Deputy Attorney General Dana Cook. I'm the incoming attorney for the State Board of Equalization. Senior Deputy Attorney General Jessica Guerra is also attending remotely, I believe, as attorney for the State Board. Chair Bancroft has asked for a summary of the purpose of the State Board's annual meeting and the board's responsibility, and that summary follows. Nevada statutes require an annual meeting of the State Board of Equalization to care for the business of equalization presented to it by statute. The State Board is charged under NRS 361.395, subsection 1B, to review the tax rolls of the various counties and raise or lower, equalizing and establishing the taxable value of the property, where needed. The statutes contemplate that there may be equalization complaints by taxpayers presented to the State Board, but they also require the State Board to conduct its own review. In determining if property has been assessed uniformly, the State Board is to consider 1, the tax rolls of each county, 2, the central assessment roll, 3, any ratio study conducted by the Department of Taxation pursuant to NRS 361.333, 4, any audit of the work practices of a county assessor performed by the department pursuant to NRS 361.333, 5, any evidence submitted pursuant to NRS 361.355, 6, any information provided to the State Board pursuant to NAC 361.661, 361.662, and 361.663. And finally, 7, any other information the State Board deems relevant. The State Board can request additional information from a county assessor and a ratio study or statistical analysis from the department or county assessor pursuant to NAC 361.661 and 361.662. After considering the information, the State Board may make a preliminary finding that a class or group of properties was not assessed uniformly, and then schedule a hearing concerning the preliminary finding. This is under NAC 361.664. If the State Board does not find that a class or group of properties was not assessed uniformly, no action needs to be taken by the Board. There is no requirement that the State Board moves to find that all properties are assessed uniformly. The review by the State Board does not need to be completed during the annual meeting. The State Board can hold such meetings as necessary to care for the business of equalization. However, if the equalization is likely to have a substantial effect on tax revenues, notice of the proposed equalization must be provided to the county assessors by April 30th. That completes the summary.
Thank you. Do we have somebody here from the department who can answer questions regarding the materials that have been presented?
Good morning, Chair Bancroft and members of the board. Jeff Mitchell, Deputy Director of Excise and Local Government Services for the Department of Taxation.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. Could you please swear Mr. Mitchell in?
Mr. Mitchell, do you swear or affirm to provide truthful information and testimony in this hearing?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. I just want to go over the information that we have been provided. Material consistent with the requirements of NAC 361.660. The tax rolls of each county, as corrected by the county board and filed with the Secretary of State, have been distributed to the board members, with the exception of the tax roll for Pershing County. Has it now been filed?
It has not been filed as of this morning yet. Diligent inquiry is being made to try to get that filed.
Okay. Clark and Washoe counties have certified that they made diligent inquiry and examination to ascertain all the property within the county subject to taxation and required to be assessed by the county assessor, and that they assess the property equally and uniformly on their tax rolls. Have the other counties made a similar certification?
Yes, to the satisfaction of the department. Part of the submission this year was through our new software program referred to as Mint, and part of that process is certifying or checking that this certification is done.
Thank you. We've also been provided a copy of the 2026 Secured Central Assessment Roll and the 2025-26 Unsecured Central Assessment Roll. Have those rolls been approved by the Nevada Tax Commission?
Jeff Mitchell, for the record, yes, those are provided every first Monday of October to the Nevada Tax Commission. If there is property that is brought forward as property escaping taxation in regards to those specific rolls, those are brought forward to subsequent meetings. We do have a planned certification that will take place at this May meeting for property escaping taxation for that period, but all other values have been certified.
We've also been provided the department's 2025-26 ratio study of Douglas County, Humboldt County, Lyon County, Nye County, and Washoe County. Has that ratio study been reviewed and approved by the Tax Commission?
Jeff Mitchell, for the record, yes, those are brought forward at the May Tax Commission, and they were approved. That ratio study was approved at last May's Tax Commission.
I understand that the ratio study also included an audit of the work practices and procedures of the counties, and that those results are in the narrative section of the report. Is a new ratio study in progress?
It is.
Which counties are involved?
For the ratio study that will be approved at this upcoming May Tax Commission, we have Churchill, Lander, Pershing, White Pine, Elko, and Carson City.
Will it include an audit of their work practices?
Yes.
When will it be complete?
It will be complete hopefully here in the next week or two, then submitted to the various assessors for comment and brought forward to the May Tax Commission for approval or review.
So far this year, we've received approximately 60 appeals some of which may be raising equalization arguments under NRS 361.355. Those cases will be addressed at later hearings. The State Board can also request additional information from a county assessor or the department pursuant to NAC 361.661 and NAC 361.662. This is the first time I've sat as chair, and I don't recall there being any additional information requested, but I just want confirmation of that.
Thank you, Chair. Jeff Mitchell for the record. The State Board has not made that request within the last couple of years. I went back about 5 or 6 years, and a request pursuant to those NACs has not been made.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. The last item is any item the State Board deems relevant. I've asked, or I've submitted or circulated a compilation of information which I had assembled, which shows sales prices of vacant land, and then compares the sales prices to the assessed value. Among that group of sales, the average assessed value as a percentage of sales price was 23.83%, and the median was 22.31%, which is much lower than the target range, which is 32% to 36%. Mr. Mitchell, does that suggest that vacant land may be undervalued for assessment purposes?
Thank you, Chair Bancroft. Jeff Mitchell for the record. In my opinion, I don't believe that this is conclusive. When we conduct a ratio study, we have a variety of different methodologies that we can undertake in approaching a ratio study. One is fairly similar to what you have provided here, where it's a compilation of all sales. If we were to conduct a ratio study and research and analysis on this list of sales, we would want to go through the process of stratifying and then researching these sales to verify which ones are usable and truly reflective of a market value. That has not been done. Our ratio study is a sample-based ratio study where we do random samples of various classifications of land as well as properties within the county, and then do a comparison of that specific random sample to sales and a comparison therein. And a lot more thorough analysis can be done on that random sample basis. So in order to truly analyze this, we would have to devote the resources necessary to do the research before I would feel comfortable making any conclusions based upon the sales provided.
Thank you. Thank you. And so as you indicated, a ratio study can be done in this fashion, comparing the assessed value in the county or the assessed value of the properties to the sales prices of the property. But the main difference would be, instead of just compiling the information, you would do a investigation of the sales transactions to confirm that they are in fact arm's length transactions.
Yes, there would be what we would refer to as a cleaning of the sales to make sure that they are truly arm's length transaction, as well as then a review of the assessed parcels to see if those fall under any special categorization, if they're agricultural property, if they were subject to subdivision discount, anything that might affect that assessed valuation. And so there would be research to make sure that this is a one-to-one comparison, for lack of a better term.
Now, it's my understanding that currently the counties are filing a statement of valuation of properties sold. with the Department of Tax. And that statement of valuation of properties sold identifies sales transactions which the counties have reviewed. Is that correct?
So every year, the county assessors are required to file a sales compilation of all the sales that have occurred within the county. I believe it's regulation that requires that by April 1st. There is a guidance letter given out there that we extend that deadline into July 1st so that it matches up more with the statutes and the market data that the assessors are using for that valuation that they provide for their valuations. So we receive that by July 1st every year.
But in the sales that they're reporting, are they reporting the sales as, are they taking the step of determining whether or not those sales are arm's length or not arm's length?
I would have to go and review the guidance and the statutes and the regulation. I'll be honest, I don't know that answer off the top of my head, if it's a compilation of all sales or if it's cleaned sales.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Bottom line, should we be at all concerned at this point?
Jeff Mitchell, for the record, that is a hard statement for me to make as department staff. I do believe that our ratio study is intensive in regards to the procedures and the policies that we review, as well as there is conclusions that can be made off of the ratio study that would indicate equalization or non-equalization of those classifications. And so with that ratio study, I believe that that can be a reliable source of information as you consider the equalization matters.
Mm-hmm. The other kind of, okay, thank you. Thank you. Do any other board members have questions of Mr. Mitchell or comments or concerns regarding any of the information we've reviewed or any additional information they'd like to see?
Curtis Cadwell, for the record, I have a question. You know, on the Douglas County ratio study, what happens with the 26% out of ratio? I mean, it's a sample of 23 and 17 are in and 6 are out. Does that go back to the county, and are they tasked with looking into what they're doing and figuring it out, or do we just know that if we hear something from Douglas County, for example, on a residential land, that there may be an issue?
Thank you, Mr. Cadwell. Jeff Mitchell, for the record. So when we bring forward recommendations to the Tax Commission, and if we find things that are out of ratio, depending on the severity that we find, we usually make a recommendation that either the county addresses within the next cycle, or occasionally very qualified appraisers can reach different conclusions when they are looking at matters. And so this is based upon the department's opinions and conclusions, but with that recommendation, there wasn't a recommendation that it be addressed immediately, but it is definitely something that we are going to have a larger sample and a larger look at when the ratio study comes around.
Thank you.
Do any other commissioners have, or members have, questions or concerns? No? Ms. Skalski, would you see if there's any people in the public who are monitoring this hearing who would like to have, who have comments, questions, or observations concerning the business of equalization?
Do we have anyone in Carson City who would like to make comment? Do we have anyone in Las Vegas who would like to make comment? AVH, do we have anyone online who would like to make comment at this time?
If you would like to make a comment at this time, please press star 9 on your phone or raise hand on your Zoom window to participate. Again, if you would like to provide comment, please press star 9 on your phone. We have no participants for a comment at this time.
Thank you. I think we've conducted our review of all the tax rolls, except that of Pershing County. I'd ask that our consideration of their tax roll be placed on the next agenda of our next meeting that we hold here in Northern Nevada.
Adrian Roberts Larson for the record. Agenda item 6 includes presentations by the Department of Taxation staff. Presenting for the Department of Taxation today is Deputy Director Jeff Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I think the best way to handle this is a word-by-word reading of all 738 pages, and I will begin shortly. No, there is a lot of information contained herein, and I will be giving a brief overview of the different publications that the Department of Taxation puts together, as well as the valuation manuals and so forth. I plan on keeping this fairly brief, but I do and am open at the discretion of the chair to any questions that can come our way. And if that is acceptable to you, Mr. Chair, I will move forward.
Yes, please do.
Thank you. On page 5 of the information that is publicly available online is our first publication that we pushed forward, and that is the State Board of Equalization Hearing Guidelines. Within the State Board of Equalization Hearing Guidelines, we have a property tax, secured roll and unsecured roll, as well as the appeal deadlines in a calendar format. And then we go through the basic functionalities of how the meetings are conducted, what decision letters should look like, and things along those lines. This is really just the hearing guidelines so that we can conduct diligent inquiry and that the hearings have structure. Next up is the 2025-26 Report of Assessment Ratio Study that is presented every May to the Nevada Tax Commission. As mentioned, the 26-27 Assessment Ratio Study will be presented at the May 6th Tax Commission that is coming up. Within this ratio study, we reviewed, let me bring up the counties again, a bunch of counties. This year was Churchill, Lander, I apologize. The one last year that we are looking at was Lyon County, Nye County, Douglas County, Humboldt County, and Washoe County. Within the ratio study, we conduct a sample of the properties. The samples that we select are based upon the previous ratio study from 3 years ago and where the ratios within that county fell in regards to the coefficient of variation. So within the sample selection, if we found that the parcels that were selected were really tightly structured, that indicates that a slightly smaller sample, the previous study, will provide a statistically significant enough of a sample to move forward on. As you well know, within the Nevada's property tax structure, with improvements, we are working off of the same manuals. And so we find that a lot of those values tend to be very tightly clustered. 2 years ago, we've started to shift with the ratio study to have a larger sample of the land property because the land is valued according to market study. So, market valuation. So even though that the sample selection may indicate a fairly small sample would be statistically significant, we have started to expand that sample selection within the land area as well as within certain improvements if we find that need. The ratio study is currently under place for this year for the counties that were mentioned previously. And then next year, we will be undertaking a ratio study of Clark County, Eureka, Lincoln, Story County, Mineral, and Esmeralda. And that will begin shortly after the May Tax Commission and the approval of the 26-27 ratio study. Next is the statistical analysis of the roll. This publication is required by statute, and it is a final reconciliation of valuation. It is composed and reported to after the State Board of Equalization finishes its business as of November 1st. And the intent of it is a reporting of all valuations once properties are settled. We still do occasionally have properties that have been appealed up into the judicial system, which those valuations changes would not be reflected in the statistical analysis of the roll, but all other valuation changes are reflected here and within the statistical analysis of the roll. Some of the uses of this publication, in NRS 361 4722 through 47, I believe 35 inclusive, is what is commonly referred to as the property tax abatement program. With that, the tax cap is determined each year. It is a 10-year look back at assessed valuations. Because of the timing of the different rolls, the statistical analysis of the roll isn't available for the first two most current years, and so we use what's referred to as the segregation roll for those valuations. But once this is settled and published, it is used for the other 8 years of consideration in regards to the change of assessed valuation for the calculation of that tax cap. It is also used for a source of information for a bunch of different publications that are out there. Next up within the packet on page 361 is the Rural Building Manual. The Rural Building Manual is a publication that is brought forth by regulation. Within that regulation, if improvements on rural property don't have a building permit, were built with farm labor, were not necessarily built according to all the different standards of building today, the assessors are allowed to use the Rural Building Manual, which is basically a 25% haircut off the valuations within Marshall and Swift. Within the Rural Building Manual, we also include the assessors. They are allowed to petition the Department of Taxation and the Executive Director if they believe there are any costs not contained within Marshall and Swift when they are looking at different properties that are out there. So they can petition for an alternative cost methodology. Those alternative cost methodologies are reviewed by the department and the executive director, and then the executive director can approve outside of Marshall and Swift various cost methodologies. Statute requires that all those alternative cost methodologies are disclosed once a year to the Nevada Tax Commission and the public. And the Rural Building Manual serves not only as the rural building costs, but also a disclosure of those valuations that are requested. And the improvement factor, which is found on page 500 of the packet, county assessors are required to reappraise property within their counties. Currently, all county assessors revalue land yearly. All but 2 counties currently revalue improvements yearly throughout their systems. If a county does not revalue their improvements yearly, they are allowed under regulation and statute to use what is referred to as an improvement factor. wherewith they move those valuations that are not in their reappraisal cycle up by the appropriate improvement factor, therefore bringing those costs current with those other costs. As counties move forward, more and more counties are moving away, and if eventually all 17 counties recost both their improvements and revalue their land annually, the improvement factor will not be published because there will be no use for it. But currently it is published. Next on the information is the personal property manual. This is found on page 576 of your packet. The personal property manual is governed by regulation, and it is brought forward to the Nevada Tax Commission every May. Before we bring the valuation of the personal property manual forward, we are required to hold a public workshop in the month prior to the improvement. And so the personal property manual will be workshopped coming up in April. We are looking at a couple of different dates, looking around April 16th, but most likely we will move that to around April 20th. At that workshop, it is an opportunity both for assessors as well as industry and the public to bring forward any concerns or matters that they don't believe are addressed appropriately within the personal property manual. They can bring forward alternative depreciation schedules, or they may request certain items which are not directly identified within the manual. For example, we have had requests to have a little bit more information and discussion on robotics in the last couple of years, as that has been an evolving industry, as well as drones has come up. The solar industry in regards to personal property, in regards to that, has been brought up at the workshops, and all that information is contained within the personal property manual. So coming up at the May Tax Commission, we will be approving the 27-28 personal property manual. It is a couple years forward because occasionally we do have secured property which shows up on the unsecured roll and is valued with the personal property. And so with the assessors starting to value the 27-28 secured property, that is why it is a very forward-looking manual. Last in the packet is the Nevada Property Tax Elements and Application Manual, which is found on page 670 of the packet. This is just a very overall comprehensive introduction, as well as a layout of how property tax within Nevada works, and the elements and the applications and so forth. It goes through the abatements, it goes through exemptions, it goes through the history of property tax within Nevada. It's my favorite manual, but I don't believe I'm allowed to add that color, but it's a great manual. With that, I am able to take any questions, or if you would like me to talk in more detail about any of the information that has been provided, I'm more than happy to.
It does not look like there are any board members have questions, so did I hear somebody with a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Kevin. Yeah, it's Kevin Orrock. And I apologize if you have mentioned this or it's in the text of the manual you're speaking to. But how big are the sample sizes? Is it different from county to county, or?
Thank you, Member Orrick. Jeff Mitchell for the record. It is different from county to county, and it is different from classification of property to classification. And so agricultural property, for example, all land valuations are to be completed according to a very specific structure that is laid out within the agricultural manual. With that, we find that agricultural land tends to be valued correctly because there's not a lot of judgment that goes into that valuation. And so when we conduct a sample on agricultural land, that tends to be a very small sample. Land value in general is supposed to be valued according to market value. And there's a lot more different factors that can come into play with that. And so the sample on land tends to be rather large. And so the samples vary, and what they vary on usually is the previous year's ratio study of that county and how much those correlated and were clustered together around the appropriate ratios. And so if a county is spot on within a certain classification, we still want to make sure that we look at that property. But the sample will be smaller there compared to other areas so that we can dedicate the resources to the areas where there could be more variability and things might start sliding in that area. So the sample depends. That was a long-winded answer. I apologize.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the response.
Do we have any other questions? If not, would you introduce the next item, please?
Adrian Roberts Larson for the record. Agenda item 7 is the briefing to and from the board and the secretary and staff. For possible action, proposed hearing schedules and docket management. This is an opportunity to discuss hearing schedules and the 2026 docket. Included in the meeting materials are dates that have been set aside for potential meetings. Interested parties are advised to save the dates. The 2026 docket as of March 18th, 2026 has also been included in the meeting materials. To date, 158 appeals have been filed with the state board.
158?
Yes, sir.
What? I've got the docket schedule, but it's only 2 pages. Did I not print out all the pages?
This is Carrie Skalski for the record. So we are up to case number 26-159, and we do not include 26-100. So a lot of those cases can be consolidated, it looks like. On the second page.
Oh, so it's we're up to case 159, but we start counting at 100.
101.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
it's
Oh, correct.
it's
My
59
apologies,
cases
59.
that are pending, and we've resolved the first 5. So we're down to maybe 55 cases. If you've reviewed the docket sheet, from case number 26-128 through 26-157, we're all filed by the same party, and they appear to be related entities which all own different residential subdivisions in Clark County. At the county level, the same issues were raised in all those cases. At the county level, they did not consolidate them. They heard argument in the first case, and there were 2 issues that arose. They resolved those 2 issues, and those 2 issues then dictated how all the remaining cases would be resolved. So I anticipate those. So I anticipate there won't be the amount of time necessary that seeing all those cases won't take all the time it would if they were individual cases. So I really don't think our docket is that crowded, and would like to see a more controlled kind of hearing, so it's so that we're not having calendars that are too crowded with materials, and that we're not in a situation where the materials are provided to the board members, a week before, that we're getting them further in advance of the actual hearing dates. And the other thing is where we hold these hearings. I think for this annual meeting, attendance via Zoom makes sense, but for meetings where we're actually hearing the contested cases from taxpayers, I think it would be good to have the all board members in attendance at that location. I know for people in who fly out of Reno and Las Vegas, that getting to the hearing is not necessarily a problem, but Curtis, I'm kind of wondering about you. What's travel to and from?
Paul, I will always attend in person for any of those. I mean, the only ones I've ever done are these short little ones remotely.
Yeah.
I don't do good on Zoom. I don't like doing it, so I will attend in person and those dates obviously included dates that I blacked out. So, I mean, I'm fine, but I can be in Reno or Vegas. Either one's no problem.
Do they have flights that go from Elko to Las Vegas?
No, I usually just drive down.
Oh, okay. Long drive.
Yeah, it takes as long to fly, so.
True. Do any do the other board members have any questions or concerns or ideas about how these hearings could be handled differently or scheduled differently, or?
I think it's kind of wrong. I agree with Curtis that I'm an in-person type of guy as well. So I think we should be in person for anytime we're hearing pending cases. I mean, I noticed one
I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just have to lean forward. I'm on a laptop. Yeah, I agree with Curtis that I'm not a Zoom person either. I prefer to be in person. So your recommendation is very appropriate for pending cases. I noticed on the consent agenda, I was curious, there was one item that had like a $30 change from the original assessment to the revised assessment. And
Yeah.
that seemed $30 almost doesn't seem to be worth even putting it on the consent agenda.
No, I agree. I noticed that as well. I think it was the case 26103. The tax associated with the change in value wasn't enough to justify the effort to make the change and run it through this this whole process. So yes, I kind of agree with you that
Chair, this is Adrian Roberts Larson. We do have department staff, I think, could give some insight into that.
please.
Jeff Mitchell for the record, Deputy Director. I'm somebody. I agree with you. Unfortunately, we have to treat all taxpayers equitably. If there was a statute or a regulation that said under a certain dollar amount, if it's a clerical matter or a matter of a certain dollar amount that it could just be handled, we would love, and I think it would actually be something beneficial to the taxpayers. But with the current structure, the department staff doesn't have the ability to change that tax roll without approval of either the tax commission when certified or the State Board of Equalization if there's a matter that needs to be changed. And so, yes, it is a lot of process for very little tax amount, but we treat it the same as if it was $30 million. We want to make sure that we are valuing and bringing all matters forward as we should. And so if anybody's listening that has BDR power out there, that would be nice. But unfortunately, matters like this, we do need to bring forward because the department doesn't have the ability to change those.
Does the department have the ability to, on matters which are negligible in amount, to say, we'll correct that on a go-forward basis?
Not really, no.
Thank you.
Wish we did.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the scheduling and docket management, I think the first hearing date that you had suggested was was when? End of April?
Yes, I believe so. Carrie?
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the materials right now. Just one moment. We have identified April 29th and 30th as the first meeting date.
There are currently, typically for the hearing in northern Nevada, Carson City or Reno, it's my understanding we'd hear the cases from the counties, from rural counties and Washoe County. We have, there's only 9 cases, or at least my reading of it, there's 9 cases from Washoe, Humboldt, Lyon, Elko, and Carson City. I think those could be handled in one day.
That would be great because I can't make the 30th.
Okay, that's an answer to my next question, which was, do people have a preference, April 29th or 30th? Why don't we plan on April 29th for the for the 9 cases from Washoe, Humboldt, Lyon, Elko, and Carson? I think that's as far through the scheduling as I think I'm prepared to go at the present time. I think that gets us started. And we have the dates set aside for future meetings. There's also the possibility of additional appeals being filed. What we're looking at right now are the appeals that are from the County Board of Equalization. Those were due March 10th. There's a May 15th deadline for assessments on the unsecured roll, so we may get more appeals filed in the middle of May.
Chair, this is Adrian Roberts-Larson. For your consideration, if you wanted to discuss the following meeting, just because it'll be coming up, possible dates in June, we do have the 2 days set aside, but since it's going into the summer, with people having summer plans and such, I just thought I would bring that up for your consideration.
Do people, yeah, the dates in June, the first,
The dates would be June 3rd and 4th in Las Vegas.
do people have any thoughts on those hearing dates? Again, it may be worthwhile to schedule it for, one of those days. I know, at least from my personal experience, that if you only do, 1 day of hearings is a reasonable amount of material to kind of digest, and I when it goes into 2 days of hearings, there's a certain amount of, fatigue. I think 1 day is reasonable. Do other people have any thoughts?
Hello, this is Jessica Guerra for the record. I just want to let you know for any cases in Vegas on the 3rd, I might not be available because I have a hold for another agency, so I could do the following week, but if not, Dana will probably be available virtually. It just depends on what the preference is for a physical DAG to be available.
Oh, okay. Okay. So DAGs don't travel?
Not when there's 1 or 2 available. I can talk to my chief about whether or not Dana could travel down and talk to the department. It just depends on what the available budget is for that.
Okay.
But if not, then just as a heads up, I have a current hold for another agency, but Dana could be available virtually and possibly physically. But I want to leave that for the board's consideration.
And your hold is for June 3rd, not June 4th?
Actually, it's for June 3rd and 4th.
Okay, for
it's
both.
that whole.
But otherwise, members of the board, you're available on either of those dates? Okay. So
Curtis Kettle for the record, yeah.
And Chair, I would mention that Carrie Skalski did ask for everyone's availability on the committee, and then by the department as well, and that's how we came up with those dates.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, I think tentatively planning on the June 3rd or 4th is a good idea. Yeah.
Mr. Chair. The April meeting is,
Yes, the April meeting. Kevin, did you have a question regarding that? I'm sorry, you're not coming through again.
is it in Reno or Carson City?
It will be in northern Nevada, either Reno or Carson City.
Okay. Thank you.
Let's move on to the next item.
All right, Adrian Roberts-Larson for the record. Item number 8 is litigation update provided by the Attorney General's office. And to speak on the matter, we have Deputy Attorney General Dana Cook.
Thank you, Dana Cook for the record. There are currently 7 cases pending in Nevada district courts. up on petition for judicial review of a state board decision. These cases, I'm going to briefly go over. In each case, there's the record that is compiled here at the board is filed with the court. So the court gets the record and the decision. And that takes compiling by Carrie and our office. And in 5 of those cases, that record's already been filed, and we're currently awaiting opening briefs. And I'll go over those 5 briefly and state the opening brief date. In Carmona, the petitioner's opening brief will be due April 6th, 2026. The record was filed on February 25th. In Chada, the opening brief is due on April 20th. The record was filed on March 6th. The court has set the hearing, actually, in that one on the judicial review for the 28th of April. On Townsite, the record was filed March 6th. Petitioner's opening brief will also be due April 20th. And the hearing for Chamber's review on that petition for judicial review will be June 26th. For Eagle Shadow, the record was filed on February 25th. The petitioner's opening brief will be due April 6th. For the Esmeralda County regarding the school district, the record was filed March 23rd, last week. And no briefing schedule has been set yet. The other 2 cases, no record's been filed yet. It will be filed by April 9th on each, and that is Wolfson 1 and Wolfson 2. That's all 7 cases pending on petition for judicial review.
What was the hearing date on the Chadha case?
That was April 28th.
That seems very quick after the opening brief is due April 20th.
I agree. We've been inquiring into that, the legal secretary in the office.
Do any members have questions about the pending litigation? If not, why don't we move on to the next item?
Adrian Roberts Larson for the record. Item 9 is for possible action, review and approval of the January 23rd, 2026 special meeting minutes. Chair.
Thank you. Do any members have corrections to the minutes as presented? If there are no corrections, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 23rd meeting,
Do we have a second?
2026.
Was Mr. Orrock, was that a second?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, I believe that was a second.
Chairman?
Yes.
Member Orrock was not in attendance at that meeting,
Okay.
so I believe he would need to abstain.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Mr. Orrock. You can't second it.
I was waiting for somebody else.
Corey Burke for the record. I'll second that motion.
Thank you. So let's vote on the pending motion. Mr. Cadwell,
Aye.
Ms. Burke,
Aye.
and Paul Bancroft, aye. I understand that since Mr. Orrock was not at the meeting, he's abstaining from the voting. State board member comments. Do any board members have comments they'd like to share at this time? If not, public comment is next. Ms. Skalski.
For the record, this is Carrie Skalski. Persons wishing to provide public comment remotely may access the meeting by using the telephone numbers and meeting ID posted on the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per person, and comments based on viewpoint will not be restricted. The chairman may allow additional time to be given to a speaker as time allows at his sole discretion. NRS 241.020. NRS 241.030. Is there anyone in Carson City who would like to make public comment? Seeing none. Is there anyone in Las Vegas who would like to make public comment? AVH, do we have anyone online who would like to make public comment?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press star 9 on your phones or raise hand on your Zoom window to participate. Caller, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Since there was no public comment, I believe that concludes. Pardon? Oh, there is public comment?
Sorry, this is Carrie Skalski for the record. ABH, do we have someone online for public comment?
Yes, we do have someone. The caller is unmuted, but they are not responding. Again, caller, please go ahead.
This is Mary Ann Widener with the Clark County Assessor's Office. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Thank you. I just wanted to make a comment. I know you all have been discussing the dates for the hearings that are going to be down south here in Las Vegas. I do know we've had a few folks that have actually put in for leave that would be parties to some of the hearings for that first week in June. I know, of course, it's the board's discretion to schedule the hearings whenever they want, but we're wondering if you would consider possibly the second week in June instead of that first week in June, where we'd have parties back in the office to be able to be there for the hearings. Just wanted to make that comment. And we do appreciate the board scheduling the hearings much earlier this year. We know as it gets later in the year, it makes it more difficult for us to get back into the gear of things. So we do appreciate that we're doing them much earlier this year, but we're just asking for that one thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Widener.
We have no additional callers for public comment.
Good. That concludes our agenda for today. So I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for attending.